So I've explained how to set up the game and how to play through the phases. I'll reiterate a couple things. We continue to play through each of the turns, following all the phases. In between the third and fourth phase, everybody, including the gnomes, are going to get an extra worker. And obviously, during the fourth and fifth phase that we talked about earlier, the gnomes are going to get one extra card. They're going to actually draw 9. At the end of the game, if you're good, all the players have more points. If you're tied with the gnome, that's considered to be a loss. All players have to have more points than the gnomes at the end. That is really how you play the game. Let me add a couple strategic notes that I think is really important when you're playing co-op play. In fact, I actually wrote a co-op play strategy guide. I'll post the link below. Actually, a strategy guide for all play. The first thing I would say is that do your best to prevent the gnomes from building. Like leaving, I mean, this was kind of rotten luck the way this worked out, but covering these gnomes to keep even like a single gnome cube is a very dangerous thing. It seems really weak. Well, they build a brewery there. They're getting 3 points to end that round. The other thing, other piece of advice in regard to the gnomes is that converting breweries is a must. Because every time, let's say the red player during the next round kind of moves in like this on them, right? Takes it. Every time you remove a gnome brewery and place it one of yours, that player earns 2 points. I can't tell you how important that is because these are very vulnerable, though they spread out. The gnomes have a tendency to spread out, but sometimes they get thin. So spreading out like this makes them very vulnerable. I bet red player would pretty easily take this back. This is a little tougher nut to crack. So which leads me to kind of my next thing is that get these gnome cubes off the board, but don't pull all of them off. Because as I mentioned earlier, if there's no gnome cubes on the board, they can't perform their actions. If they can't perform their actions, they're going to get 2 points. I mean, I've seen games, right, where it's either 7 actions where 10 points were scored because all the gnomes got pulled off the board. Or the first, it's rare that it's every single one. It could be up to 14. It'd be very rare. There's a lot of things in there just airdropping. But still, it's worse, actually. You kind of want to get the gnomes where they're weak enough, you kind of farm them, but not so weak as they can't do anything. But not strong either. Strong is probably the worst thing because they just get a phenomenal amount of points. So removing gnomes off the board, things like beer comp, these special ability cards, basically just pick any 3 gnomes off the board to remove. It's pretty powerful, especially if they only got 1 or 2 guys. I mean, this is remove 3 cubes. You could just go, remove these cubes from this square, move 3 here. That's weak enough so you can work together to get purple and take that space. Other important spaces for the gnomes, these thugs are a bargain. For 2 gold, being able to remove 3 and add 2, it's great. It's expensive. 2 gold is not cheap. But I think it's really, really important to getting gnomes off the board. So I mentioned beer competition, thugs, special abilities. Make sure you just keep them covered at all times. The other thing I would say is the middle. The middle is one of these kind of dangerous spaces. It seems like it's just easy, low-hanging fruit because it's worth 2 points a round. You don't want the gnomes to have it because that's 5 points every round because they're getting 3 points for the brewery, 2 points for the space. However, when you take that spot, there's a lot of dragon cards, four of them in the deck that fly them immediately to the middle. You have to have the cash on hand to cover that. Right, it's really important. Which leads me to the other thing, is that the gnome's weakness in this game, unless they get up here, is gold. So notice the cost. At the beginning of the game, they can bribe the dragon pretty easily. By the end of the game, it's much harder for them to do. Using the dragon against the gnomes, either playing the dragon tribute or placing the dragon in places that makes them vulnerable, will remove a large amount of gnome cubes. And one thing I didn't mention earlier, and I wish I would have remembered this, is that the dragon blocks actions from coming in and out of space. If the dragon's here Let's say it burns a brewery and eats some guys. These guys will off the board. Nobody can move in or out, or any actions can't be performed in that space. I kind of blocked it. Sorry, that sound is crazy. Because they're busy. So that's the other thing is like, use the dragon as a weapon, but be careful. I oftentimes have used the dragon against the gnomes and have it come back and bite me because I didn't have enough gold. That's the main thing about gnome management. The other thing is that just every point counts. I've had so many games where just picking the right giving them taking an ally card and getting a point early could be, and even 1 point can make a difference. The other thing is gold for points is handy, but don't overuse it because you've got to have gold to protect yourself from the dragon. Because at the last 2 turns, the dragon can potentially move 9 tiles in a game. And I had last time I actually played, had one of these rare circumstances where I took a risk and spent all my gold on points in a co-op game, so I would not be last. But as a result, the dragon burned down 5 of my breweries in 1 turn. It was enjoyable, but we all lost as a result of it. I didn't follow my own advice. That's all I have to say. I mean, I will post some links to the rules and stuff down below. I'm sure I forgot something. Obviously, there's lots of little things, the rules, but that's basically the high level. There's some exceptions and things here and there based on cards and abilities that you get. I'm going to do a same sort of series like this for competitive play. I'll probably post that video up for the next day or so. Thank you very much.